Hello, I'm RezenatorZen. This is a particular polo shirt for no particular reason. um, I'm almost done with my term paper. I think I'm only going to be able to squeeze 5 pages of written information because I gave a background to the Spanish Inquisition because that's what my thing is. That's what my topic is. It's the Spanish Inquisition, but more specifically, it's the torture methods of the Spanish Inquisition. And I mean, I did like 3.5 pages of the torture methods, and like I gave a very in depth, as far as my opinion is concerned, a very in depth prologue to that, which was just information about why it got started, who started the Spanish Inquisition, how it was just a bunch of persecution, how many people were innocent, um, which you didn't have to do much to get called a heretic and to be tortured, and it, the torture brought about confessions that were false, and then people were burned to death. And I mean, it's just really abhorrent what the Christian Church condoned during the Middle Ages. Um, I guess I can understand where they came from, but their means of trying to convert people to Christianity is not the best thing, and to get rid of the heretics is not the best way to do it either. Um, but I mean, the Spanish Spider, I think it was called, is the no, yeah, it was called the Spider. It was a version of the breast ripper, which you can tell what the breast ripper did. This was just a very more modified version. It was like mounted to the wall, and you would heat it up, and it would rip the woman's breast off. And thankfully, it was not used that much. It was only used in severe cases of horrible crimes, like miscarriage, which miscarriage isn't a crime. That's just something that happens. And I think adultery and stuff like that. Those are not crimes warranting ripping off the breast, but to them it was. And there was the head crusher, which was really fucked up, because if it didn't kill you, it would cause permanent brain damage. I mean, the list of what it did on this thing, and it's medievality.com, and I'm searching for torture methods because I have to stretch out my paper, and I've had to do this, and I've been using Wikipedia for torture methods because it's really, really hard to find information on the torture methods anywhere else that I try to find as a scholar. I try to find sources that are scholarly, that are education sites, but not a lot of people want to focus on this little bit of history, because Christians did a lot of mean shit to people who shouldn't have been fucked with. Like the Islamic people, the Jewish people, people who are not even just not Christian at all, were not the Abrahamic gods, just the guys that were just out there doing their own thing, and they got tortured. Like the more common version of torture was the thumb screws, the knee destroyer, which obviously, I mean, the thumb screws, you break your fingers and you can at least have a chance of healing that. But the knee destroyer caused such extensive damage to your knees that you lost use of your knees after this was used on you. I mean, that is a long-term effect. And getting back to the head crusher, I mean, that would compress your skull. I mean, it would break your teeth into your jaw. It would, as I said, compress your skull, and it would actually force your eyes out of your head. I mean, and if it was stopped prematurely, it would cause massive brain damage, causing you to become a fucking vegetable, most likely. And it would just fuck your life up. Uh, Jesus Freak, when he was going on and on about how atheism caused more deaths and more destruction than Christianity and religion. I mean, he said that only some amounts of people died in the Inquisition. Yeah, not a lot of people died in the Inquisition, but the Inquisition did a lot of psychological damage to people, because I mean, they were just doing their own thing, and they began to be tortured for no fucking reason. They were just sitting there, and they were called heretics, and shit like that, and they were all of a sudden just thrown into these chambers and forced to do auto da fe's, and they were thrown into tribunals and tortured and made to confess to crimes they may not even have committed. And I mean, if you survived that, your view on the world has extensively changed. And I think that's what's going on. That's what happened with Abu Ghraib and Gitmo. Because I mean, even if they didn't do anything, we tortured people, and that's gonna change how psychologically they are after they get out. I mean, if they didn't want to kill us before getting into Gitmo for false reasons, after getting out they might have actually had some kind of justification for the things that they might do in the future, which I'm not saying that they will or have, but I'm just saying that that would give them a valid reason to do what they do. Do what they did, do what they might do. And that kind of torture psychologically fucks you up. I mean, people who are in the Hotel Hasoy, I think, in Vietnam, when those people were tortured, that had a lasting effect on them. As in Vietnam, everybody was really affected because of the kind of war it was, and people came back mentally fucked up. But I mean, any kind of torture is gonna fuck you up in a way that is gonna irreparably damage your relationships and your life for the rest of your life. And I mean, some of the torture methods were not even discontinued until much later. I mean, the garrote torture, which was used mainly as an execution means, I mean, that was used in Spain until 1975, when the penal code was changed. And I mean, that's 1975. That's only 34 years ago that was still in use. And I mean, I'm pretty sure all of this different kind of torture has been going on for forever in different incarnations. But I mean, that's the one that was used publicly by the government as a means of public torture. And I mean, people, instead of using the garrote for most things, it was used as a torture method, but it wasn't used really as an execution device. Most people who were killed in the Inquisition were burned at the stake, which was a long, horrifying experience. I mean, not just for the person who was actually being lit aflame and burned, but I mean, the families of those people that had more than likely had to watch their loved one being burned, and the smell, and just the visceral nature of that kind of torture and death is just had affected so many people in such profound ways. You have no idea what that could have done to them in any kind of way. And when I say Christianity is a dangerous device to use for controlling people, this is the kind of shit I mean. That we could probably go through another Spanish Inquisition. We could go through that kind of shit again. That's just a hair away from maybe what we're doing or what we could be doing. We're probably that close to doing that type of shit again for less reasons. And I think that we gotta think things through before we do anything because of such a nature of the things that we do. That's a really good reason. Okay. That's really all I really gotta say about the Spanish Inquisition and the impact it had on human affairs, human nature. Hope you liked my polo shirt. Hope you liked my video. Peace, love, harmony, and let's hope the Spanish Inquisition doesn't ever happen again, or the Inquisition as a whole ever happen again. Peace out.